I hope my audio and video is clear and PPT also clear. This is me, Ravikant Sharma, our CSAT reading comprehension faculty from S2N IAS Academy. And very warm good morning to all. I welcome you all to the exclusive webinar on how to decode CSAT reading comprehension for UPSC CSAT paper 2024. I would like to give a grand beginning with a quote. Here you can see the quote with the Jim Rohn. Reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. Their aspirants, if you, if you want to rise extraordinary levels, if you want to transform from ordinary human being to extraordinary human being, the reading is an essential thing, and the reading is an essential tool to migrate from ordinary stage to extraordinary stage. The same reading techniques will help you to decode the CSAT paper of UPSC 2024. So I'm going to start the session. Before starting the session, I would like to give you a small information on S2N IAS Academy CSAT program. The program name is CSAT Qualifier 2024. We're following a three-phase approach. We are not blindly following single classroom lecture and answering the questions, not like that. We are following three-phase approach to suit the needs of the exam of 2024 CSAT. In phase 1, we are taking up concept builder classes in which we are dealing with very minute details, the basics of the subject like reading comprehension, quantitative aptitude, reasoning, etc. In phase 2, we are going to discuss about topic wise practice sessions. The concepts which we discussed in the basics classes or concept ability classes, we are going to apply in the phase 2. In phase 3, we are going for revision sessions. In revision sessions, if any gaps in the phase 1 or phase 2 will be balanced. At the same time, previous year questions also discussed. So we are following three-phase approach. Student can approach the faculty or team S2N at 24/7 at any point of the time in three phases till the exam of CSAT 2024. Classes will be taken by the team of experts. By targeting 2024, there will be 3 classes per week. Daily practice will be there, weekly revision will be there, and one-to-one interactions also will be there. We're going to solve the CSAT questions online. If student is facing any difficulty, we are going to give solutions there itself. The batch starts from 21st September 2023. Apart from these classes, we are giving recorded classes as well as live sessions. For more details, you can contact S2N IAS Academy telephone number as well as website. Please join in the Telegram channel. So I would like to launch this session. In this session, we are going to launch the toolbox of S2N IAS Academy exclusively for reading comprehension section of CSAT. In this toolbox, means in these tools, we are going to provide you 5 tools. These will act like Panchapandavas who won on the war of Kurukshetra against the evil forces. At the same time, CSAT is not even less than Kurukshetra war, and reading comprehension is especially difficult one in last couple of years. For that, it is natural that you will be having fear of RC the day before exam. The fears like you can feel that what if my answer gets wrong? What if my thought process is different from the examiner's thought process? What if I am getting tougher reading comprehensions which consume a lot of time and I end up in disqualifying the CSAT paper? You are having doubts regarding time management for RCs because dear aspirants, if you give unlimited time, most of the aspirants 90% successfully completes the reading comprehensions. But the time is the major fact. To manage the time, we need elimination techniques as well as we need effective reading techniques. At the end of the practice, at the end of all 3 phases, you will be in a position to read the mind of the examiner. Means what kind of the questions examiner can ask in the exam, you can expect there itself by the end of the 3rd phase. This is the toolbox of the S2N IAS Academy. I am also dealing with the importance of reading comprehension in the CSAT paper in upcoming slides. I also build your confidence. By the end of 30 minutes of this webinar, you will be in a position to confidently say that, yes, I'm going to get at least 70 to 80% of the RCs in a positive answers by the end of this session. So CSAT syllabus, all of you know, in CSAT, these five will be the main, these six will be the main components in which the reading comprehension. Today's webinar will getting 23 to 36 questions, my dear aspirants. Out of 80 questions, you are getting 23 to 36 questions. The minimum questions from 2011 to 2023 are 23, and the maximum questions are 36. On an average, 26 to 27 questions you are getting. One question means 2.5 marks. You can assume the importance of CSAT. Around 40% to 50% of the marks will be dedicated to reading comprehension. Their aspirants, if you successfully practice the reading comprehension, the impact also will fall on interpersonal skills and communication skills type of questions, logical reasoning and analytical ability, decision making and problem solving. These two sections, these three sections are indirectly influenced by the reading comprehension, because dear aspirants, reading comprehension means not the English reading skills. It includes both English language skills as well as analytical abilities. The word comprehension means you need to interpret the mind of the other. You need to decipher the mind of the other, or you need to unlock the mind of the other. So you both need the mathematical skills or analytical skills or reasoning skills along with English language skills in reading comprehension. Both will play 50-50 role. That's why, dear aspirants, most of the persons, most of the aspirants who might have come from CBSE, ICSE backgrounds may not fail to solve the RC passages in the examinations. At the same time, the vernacular language medium people, the people who are good in maths, might have also facing difficulty in English language, will end up with negative marks. So you need blend of the skill of language with the analytical skills to solve the RC. So RC seems to be one single section which is occupying 40% of the paper, but indirectly it will go encroach 50% of the CSAT paper by observing the current trends. So all of you know about the marking process. It will be 200 marks. Each question carries 2.5 marks if you did a positive answer. If you end up with a negative answer, you will lose 0.83 marks. Altogether, if you put a negative mark, you are going to lose 3.3 marks. Around 3.33 marks you are losing by a negative answer. So my dear aspirants, please do not neglect reading comprehension section. Otherwise, you are losing 3.3 valuable marks and also valuable time. In the time frame, you can do other question from the other section and you may qualify CSAT paper. But at the end of the day, the students who are getting 120 to 130 marks are still disqualifying the CSAT paper. Unfortunately, reading comprehension become one of the major factors for southern students, because we are good in mathematics. We continuously neglect the English language from first class to BTech or PG or PhD itself. This is the importance of the CSAT paper. These are the statistics from 2023 question paper, 27 questions from RC. If you add reasoning ability and some other sections, it will go to 30 questions, means 30 into 2.5 marks. Very around 70 to 75 marks. The valuable marks are under the RC section of CSAT. So I already told, I assure you at the end of the session, I will reduce your fear of RC, because dear aspirants, the two major reasons behind feeling fear or taking anxiety, stress in solving reading comprehension is because the time is obviously, the time plays a crucial role, no doubt about it. And the two most important fearsome factors are language is becoming day by day complex, as well as answers are too close to each other. Very near answers, like Rama is a good boy, Rama is a very good boy. Both seems to be the correct answers with each close meanings by the play of language. So you need to understand the complexity of the language. You need to differentiate between the answers. So obviously, along with these two reasons, time plays a major role. That will be the third reason. And the fourth reason is, my dear aspirants, the unfamiliar topics. Most of you might be a BTech graduates who are good in technical reading and science and technology reading. The RCs related to science and technology you can easily solve. But what if the passage contains most abstract things from the philosophy backgrounds? You might have you a student of law, you are good in polity, political science, and public administration related to RCs. But what if the passage is contained pure biotechnology, pure biochemicals related aspects? So time management, dealing with unfamiliar topics, dealing with tougher language, and dealing with the options which are very close to each other plays a major role to reduce the reading comprehension CSAT. In this webinar, I am going to discuss 4 golden rules to overcome all these 4 fearsome factors to write the reading comprehension paper with a cool mindset, which will land up you in a positive marking. Yeah. Your comfort with the reading comprehension depends upon the length of the sentence. For suppose if a RC is having very less sentences with 10 to 15 words, you feel it that RC is an easier one, you will solve it in fraction of seconds. But if the RC is containing tougher vocabulary with lesser sentences, still you face difficulties. So you expect easy vocabulary, you expect short sentences, you expect familiar topics which you are graduated from, but unfortunately you are getting unfamiliar topics from the contents of Western philosophy, the contents of Oriental philosophy, some terms related to epics, the epical stories. Tougher vocabulary is the part and parcel of the CSAT in recent examinations, and much long sentences are appearing in the CSAT papers. So in practice sessions, you need to solve the unfamiliar topics, tougher vocabulary with longer sentences. Don't worry, I am being the faculty of CSAT reading comprehension section. I'm going to deal with these kind of the reading comprehension sessions. In Zoom session itself, I will give you some time. I will ask you to solve one by one. If you are facing any difficulty, I will give you my full support to overcome these fears of tougher vocabulary, unfamiliar topics, and long sentences. I'm going to discuss techniques to deal with all these 3 kind of the fears and factors of reading comprehension. So we are launching a customized program to deal with these kind of the passages. I don't want to time pass within the session by taking very reading comprehension topics in our classes. I will take the tougher ones and I will accommodate you to solve this kind of the topics. Importance of the reading skills, because to deal with those kind of the challenges, reading skills, you need to improve your reading skills. Most of the coaching centers or most of the faculties injects you a myth that read more. Dear aspirants, if you read more, your patience levels may increase, your information collection skills may increase, but it will not help you completely for tackling the reading comprehension. You need reading skills, you need more effective reading skills, reading tools, some elimination techniques, some analytical skills to decode the reading comprehension, because in CSAT RC, it is not the game of language, it is the blend of game of language as well as game of analytical skills. So you need to decipher the mind of the examiner, you need to estimate what kind of the questions are coming with some accuracy. It implies that the reader's absorption of ideas, facts, viewpoints, and arguments in line with the other who is discussing in the passage. The reader get accurate answer only when he actually follows what others saying. You should not think in perspective of yourself, you should think the perspective of other. This will be possible only with practice of tougher passages in your practice sessions. For effective reading skills, I am going to launch my first technique in this free webinar, that is PQ3R method. Dear aspirants, PQ3R method is not only useful for RC session, but also it will be useful for GS study, general studies, note making also. It will be useful to manage the lot of information regarding the essay and ethics papers. In PQ3R method, the P will be prepare. You need to prepare before solving reading comprehension. You need to see the title of the RC. You need to read the initial sentences of the RC. By reading the initial 2-3 lines, you get the mood of the author, what kind of subject he is discussing. You need to go through the questions. First, in the opening of the RC, you need to read the 1-2 lines of the reading comprehension. Directly, you can go to the questioning part. By doing this, you will understand the demand of the examiner as well as the demand of the topic. In read section, You are going to divide your single reading comprehension into small parts. Every small part is having one sub idea. Altogether, it should make the main idea of the passage. To answer the questions effectively, recite at the end of the reading within 10 to 15 seconds. You should close your eyes and you should recite what content you have read, because this will play a major role by using your subconscious mind's powers. In review session, any gaps is happening in prepared stage, question stage, reading stage. In review session, once again you go through the passage and you underline the important facts and figures. If you apply this technique, you will get your ending with the positive marks. Let's solve a PYQ from 2021 CSAT paper of reading comprehension. I'm going to apply this technique in front of you. Yes, I already told in preparation, in prepare phase, the dates, years, abbreviation, all you underlines, you read the initial line of the passage to get the idea about what kind of subject he's dealing with. In questioning section, you go to the questioning pattern, the main idea, the mode of development, etc. The demand of the examiner you will understanding in questioning section. In 3 hours while reading, if the passage is containing multiple paragraphs, each paragraph is having one sub idea. If the reading comprehension containing one single paragraph, each part means 4-5 lines. You divide the RC into each part. Each part is containing one single idea. All these single ideas together makes the main idea of the passage. 90% of the questions are directly related to what is the main motto of the passage. So in recite section, you close your eyes and you recollect everything. In review session, if something wrong, if you feel if something wrong is there in the passage while you're reading, if any weakness in absorbing any new point, you go through the passage once, within 10-15 seconds, you underline and you come to answer the questions, because you already established the main idea of the passage. Any kind of the question, you can attempt with 80 to 90% of the accuracy. But suppose it is the 2021 CSAT RC question, I already told in PQ3R method, in first P you prepare. By reading the first line of the passage, in India, the objective of macroeconomic policy is to enhance the economic welfare of the people. This is the first line of the passage, my dear aspirants. In this aspirants, they are discussing about macroeconomic policy. So you had idea of the passage in the first line itself. In second alphabet of the PQ3R method is Q, that is questions. While we are going to the questioning factor, it is discussing about the relevance of macroeconomies in the policy making of the India. Which of the following is discussing about the corollary of the main idea of the passage? Corollary means if one action reflects, if one action is promoting a cascading effect on another action, that is called corollary. Here, the first action will be the macroeconomic policy, and the cascading effect will be the welfare of the people. Welfare of the people, my dear aspirants. Though, so this passage is dealing with macroeconomic policy, and the examiner is asking about the corollary of the passage. In 3 hours method reading, we need to divide this RC into two smaller parts. In first part itself, they are dealing with macroeconomics. In second part, if you read within 2-3 minutes span of time, in second part they are discussing about the relationship between monetary policy and fiscal policy. So broadly, they are discussing about the dependence of monetary policy and fiscal policy, the coordination effect between these two. If you recite all these things, you collect everything, and if you review the passage, this passage seems to be a little easier, so no need to review this passage. Straight away you can attempt the answers. In the first option, they're saying that the central bank cannot work independently of the government. So they are discussing about microeconomy as well as macroeconomy. Central bank means RBI. RBI reflects the microeconomy. Here, government of India means the finance ministry. They are discussing about macroeconomy. So in first sentence, they are telling about microeconomy and macroeconomy cannot work independently. It seems to be safer option, so put it in the safer section. In if you go through BCD, they are telling about government should regulate financial markets and institutions closely. Nowhere in the passage we did not see the regulation term. So factually, this is the incorrect. Market economy is not compatible with the socialist policies of the government. There is no word of socialist policies, capitalist policies, anything in the passage. Factually, this is also incorrect. Financial sector reforms are required for enhancing the economic welfare of the people. Dear aspirants, this is the trap. Welfare, the term welfare is there in this passage, but here, if you see here, the term welfare is there, but here the term welfare also here the economic welfare. So in hurry mode, aspirants may end up answering D because A and D are competing each other. We eliminated B and C, but the answer will be A because the broader understanding, the main idea of the passage is to achieve the welfare of the people, both should work together. In answer, it is telling in a negative way that if they work independently, they cannot achieve it. So the answer will be A. So if you are practicing with the normal ways, economic welfare, the term welfare is there in the passage, the term welfare is there in hurry mode, you end up in answering D, but the answer is A. Yeah. In this slide, you can observe how the technique of PQ3R will work. In the introduction sentence of the RC, they are telling about the macroeconomic situations. In question, they are asking about corollary. Their fiscal and monetary work policy should work together is the motto, main idea of the passage. If you look at the aids in reading session, fiscal policy, monetary policy, macroeconomics will be the aids to get the good answer. In questioning phase, they're asking about the corollary. The objective of macroeconomics in India will be the main idea of the passage. In reading portion, the objectives of macroeconomics, central bank and government, these terms are there in the questioning pattern as well as the main idea of the passage. In review session, in recite session, we will try to collect everything in the fraction of seconds. In review, if something there, any weakness is there, you will overcome in the review session. Here, the welfare of the people, macroeconomic policies, why macro and microeconomic policies should not work independently. These things you can review in the review section. At the end of applying PQ3R methods, you can easily eliminate B, C, D. I already discussed why B is wrong, why C is wrong, and why D seems to be trapped. If the competition between option A and option D is there, why the aspirants choose D, and the correct answer will be A. So if you solve the RCs like the scientific methods, you will get the correct answer. Otherwise, you might have end up in marking D as your answer. So, dear aspirants, time management and elimination techniques also plays major role in the RC section of the CSAT, because even though you solved many n number of passages with unfamiliar topics, tougher vocabulary, and longer sentences, even though you learn a lot of techniques like PQ3R methods, if you fail to manage your time, if you fail to learn more elimination techniques, again you see the traps like option A and D, option A and C, etc., etc. For that, to supplement the PQ3R technique, I am going to discuss many other techniques like single line summary technique. If you make single line summary for each paragraph, if the RC is containing 2-3 paragraphs, you need to mark a single line summary for each paragraph. If the RC is containing small paragraph like the previous question we solved, you need to divide that RC into parts and you need to write single line summary. Don't worry, I will teach you how to make a single line summary out of the RC. You need to synchronize all these single line summaries, because if you divide your RC into 2 parts, you are getting 2 single line summaries. You need to synchronize those 2 summaries and make a main idea of the RC, dear aspirants, because if you decode the main idea of the reading comprehension 80 to 90%, you will land up with the positive mark, except you commit some silly mistakes in eliminations. Because in these days, the answers in among the 4 answers, not the single answer straightly reflects your thought process. 2 answers might confuse you even with the main idea. If you again and again practice this main idea concept, you will end up with positive answers. So practice also plays a key role among these 5 techniques I mentioned. After getting main idea, you need to observe the tone of the question as well as options also, because your main idea is having some positivity, like India is growing tremendously in terms of GDP. That is the main idea of the passage. But unfortunately, in the questions, the question like that, whether the GDP growth is the final parameter of the development, these kind of the questions may come in answers. Everything is negative related to the GDP may be there, so you need to convert your main idea from positive form to negative form to answer these type of questions. Don't worry about this. We're going to see one more PVQ from 2020 CSAT. So you need to synchronize the main idea with both questions and options. What kind of question is the question is negative or positive? Is the options are negative and positive? If unfortunately these three are in positive tone, you straight away mark the correct answer. If there's some conflict is there between main idea tone and the question tone, you need to convert the main idea into the type of question they're asking, because at the end of the day, the tone of the examiner, the intention of the examiner plays a major role than your idea from the RC. So let's solve this question. This question is related to it's related to some science and technology kind of thing. The pulse variety of Pusa are 16. In this passage, you can divide. In free time, you read the passage, because this video also available in public domain. You can solve leisurely, because I want to just showcase this techniques, the application of this techniques into the passage. In this passage, from this line, the pulse variety Pusa are 16 to this technology for paddy, till this line, I'm dividing this whole RC into two parts. From this line, the pulse variety to this technology for paddy, I am dividing this into one part and the rest of the RC into one another part for my convenience. You can divide this RC from here to here, here to here. You can divide 3 steps or 2 steps, that is your choice, but you need to divide the passage to get sub ideas. You need to observe very single idea of the passage, and you need to synchronize the single ideas into main ideas. So from the pulse variety to from the paddy, in this line they are discussing about how pulse is very much suitable than the paddy in terms of mechanization. Means if the government or the entrepreneurs of the agriculture wants to apply mechanization in northern India, pulse is very much suitable than the paddy. This is the intention of the first part of this RC. The second part, from most important to burning it, here they are saying even the issue of leftover, like stubble burning, you observe in North India, in the management of leftover of straw, still the pulse is very much comfortable than the paddy. So by synchronizing these two main ideas in the part 1 and part 2, you will get the main idea that the pulse is very much suitable for both mechanization as well as leftover management. This is the main idea of the passage, my dear aspirants, or 80% of the job done, because we got the main idea. The question is asking most rational inference, my dear aspirants. Inference means, the term inference means the implicit facts of the passage. The facts which are mentioned in the passage, which are implicit, not explicit, means they are not directly discussing, they are indirectly discussing. Still, they are discussing about the fact. We need to get most rational inference, because all these 5 seems to be inferences of the passage. We need to mark the most rational inference among these 5 things. So we are going to apply this technique to this question. In first part of the passage, I already told the pulse is more suitable for mechanization than the paddy. In the second part of the passage, the sub idea is the pulse is better and convenient than the paddy in the management of the leftover. Overall, this passage is very positive toward the pulse. So summary of the first line I discussed, summary of the second line I also discussed. If you see the option 4 and option 5, they are very negative towards the tone of the passage. Go to the option 4. In the context of Northern India, agriculture paddy straw has no usefulness. I said the pulse is better than the paddy. I did not say the paddy is useless. These kind of blunt sentences, these kind of judgmental sentences, you can blindly eliminate. If you see option 5, mechanized agriculture is the main cause for stubble burning. The aspirants in this passage nowhere Even without reading the passage, you can, if you observe this kind of the questions, mechanized agriculture is the main cause of the stubble burning, the main cause, usefulness, this kind of irrational, blunt, too much negative sentences will not be part and parcel of your UPSC, not even in CSAT, but also GS. So option 4, this fourth statement, this fifth statements are wrong. If you observe the answers, fifth sentence is there in option A, so option A is wrong. Fourth sentence is there, and fifth sentence is also there in option B, so option B also wrong. Fourth sentence is there in option D, so option D is wrong. By getting the main idea of the passage, aspirants to directly eliminated option A, B, and D. The correct option is option C. So by applying this tone technique, what kind of the question they are asking, the tone technique, by applying the sub idea and main idea of technique, by applying the PQ3R technique, you will get, you are going to answer the questions in fraction of seconds. Time management will be there, and elimination techniques also includes in these techniques, and also you are getting the positive marks. You are overcoming the fear of minus 3.3 marks in RC section. This will be the beauty of learning effective reading skills and elimination techniques and reducing the fear of RC in CSAT paper. Reading the examiners, my dear aspirants, if you want to read the examiners' minds, even though you learn techniques like PQ3R and applied in couple of RCs, you practice the techniques like sub idea and getting main idea and understanding the tone of the passage. Still, if you want to unlock the examiner's mind, if you want to predict what kind of the questions will be coming in 2024 paper, it is a long-term priority. At the end of third phase, you are able to read the mind of the examiner. First, for that, you need to have clear assessment about yourself, what kind of a reader you are. If you are a poor reader, by solving last 10 years PVQs, if you solve suppose 10 RCs, you are getting just 2-3 RCs as the correct answers, and 7 RCs are becoming wrong. If you comes under poor reader category, if you are in the poor reader category, my advice to you is, please go through the national dailies editorials like the Hindu and the Indian Express, which are directly discussing about the subjects of GS you are reading every day. Because if the content is very relevant to you, you will get the confidence. If you are an average reader, means you are getting 3 or 4 questions out of the 10 questions correct, it comes under the average reader category. To become a reader of the examiner's mind from average readers category, because you are already good in reading editorials from the Hindu and the Indian Express, please increase some dosage, like please go through some higher magazines like Time, Fortune, and Economist. In that manner, you can promote from average reader to good reader. In good readers category, around 5 to 7 RCs, 5 to 7 questions in 10 questions we are getting right answers. You need some consistent reading to get the 100% accuracy. Also, you can explore the areas like philosophical reading comprehensions, advanced scientific reading comprehension from the above mentioned magazines. You are already good because you are part and parcel of the excellent leaders category, because you know good English skills, you know the good analytical skills. Please continue your good work and increase the coverage of topics, because dear aspirants, in reading comprehensions from subjects like humanities, philosophy, and psychology to technology, science, economy, public policy, government schemes, diverse topics are coming. Nearly 10 to 12 diverse topics are coming in the reading comprehension section. So please continue your good work and explore more areas, more topics. For that, you will be suitable for the CSAT RC paper. You might have good reader in general English, in PG English, in psychology, in philosophy, in humanities subjects. But CSAT RC is blend of both reading skills as well as analytical skills. Please use your reading skills in applying by solving more number of RCs, so that you will become a reader of the examiner's mind. So in this section, we discussed many techniques like PQ3R technique, main idea, sub idea technique, guessing the tone of the examiner, and eliminating most near answers from PVQs. I already discussed some confident building measures, like what kind of the classes we are taking, in how many phases we are taking class, what kind of RCs we are going to practice in the classroom. I always assure you that in during the course of your reading comprehension CSAT program in S2N IAS Academy, any kind of suggestion, feedback, any request to solve any tougher reading comprehension in the classroom itself, I'm ready to accept, I'm ready to take all those responsibilities, because I want to see as readers of the examiner's mind. Thank you one and all. This is Ravikant Sharma from S2N IAS Academy. Feel free to ask any doubts regarding RC within the scope of this session or within the scope of outside. Thank you. Any participant can interact with me regarding reading comprehension, what kind of things you are expecting from S2N IAS Academy, what kind of RCs, the difficulty levels. Please share freely, because this is open session. Our students as well as students from outside are there. Please open your mouth. So I hope everything is clear to each and every candidate who is sitting here. Thank you very much for being participants of this webinar. Thank you, Shiva Preva. So Sucharita Garu, any questions? Jyoti Garu, Sucharita Garu, Lakshmi Garu.
No doubt, sir.
No doubts, everything clear. And Shiva Priya Garu and Sushma Garu. Rajay Garu, thanks to you also for attending the sessions.
No doubt, sir. Thank you.
Babu Bhagyashri Garu.
No doubt, sir.
Purushottam Garu, we good thanks. Thank you very much. No doubts, no doubts. So I think that's it for the session. Thank you very much for being participating.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, Jyoti is texting something in the chat box.
Okay, okay. Sir, explain key question words. That is what your question? Means your intention is the inference, assumption, key idea. Is it that your question, Jyoti Garu? So the question is related to inference. Inference means I already told the facts which are implicitly there in the reading comprehension. Means something is there in RC, like something is there in preamble indirectly in our polity session. So something is there in RC which is not directly mentioned, but it was the assumption among the facts, that is inference. So critical inference means within the option itself, 3-4 options are very factually correct according to the RC, but you need to select the best one among the 3-4 options, that is critical inference. In assumption means it was not, it is either directly mentioned or indirectly mentioned in the passage, but a common man, a layman like you and me, assume something out of RC after reading the RC, that is assumption. For suppose we are talking about girls education, the importance of girls education in a particular reading comprehension, common man feels that if you empower, if you educate our girl child, we will be in a better position. This is what we may not discuss in the our discussion in the RC, but common man assumes that girls education will be beneficial to us. Here the inference means Particularly, we are discussing about girls in higher education, girls in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and management, like that. In STEM sector, the inference will be the reader who is reading the RC infers what exactly we are discussing. So the reader thinks about only higher education and girls. That will be the inference. The layman thinks a blanket. Broadly, he thinks that girls' education will be better for our society. But if it is inference, he's specifically discussing about higher education. That person who is reading our RC specifically thinks about the higher education. And crux of the passage means a one line or 1 2 words summary of the passage. That is the other name for main area is crux of the passage. Conclusion of the passage is, in passage we discussed point 1 2 3 9. Usually the 10th point follows all the issues discussed in the point number 1 to point number 9. Suppose in the RC we are discussing about union and its territories, we're discussing about states of India, and we discussed about 27 states of the India, and we did not discuss anything about Tamil Nadu. The conclusion will be from Tamil Nadu only, because we discussed everything except Tamil Nadu. By the discussion, the reader can get some education, like this author is discussing about states of India, but this author is missing about Tamil Nadu. So the conclusion will be Tamil Nadu. So in conclusion part, the reader who is reading that RC can guess what will be the conclusion of the passage. In inference portion, the reader will guess only the things we discussed in the RC. He will not assume anything. He will be practical. He will be rational. In assumption, the reader can assume something else. We discussed something else. That reader is going 50, 60, 70% accuracy with the RC. He is assuming something which is quite near to the thought process of the author. That is the difference between inference and assumption. In corollary, I discussed in the class itself, one action reflects the other action. Means if one person beats another person, the another person will go to police station and register a complaint. So the corollary of the incident is registering of a complaint. The intention behind registering the complaint is that person one is beating the person two. This will be the corollary. If one action follows the another action, if you decode the first action, that will be the corollary. If I miss anything, you can ask. Shiva Priya garu asked one doubt, and she said she put it in the chat box, but I didn't find it. శివప్రియ గారు మెసేజ్ చేశారా మీ డౌట్? నాకైతే కనిపించలేదు. థ్యాంక్ యూ లక్ష్మి గారు, థ్యాంక్ యూ సుష్మా గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్, ఇట్స్ క్లియర్. థ్యాంక్ యూ అనిల్ గారు. So we can end the session. Thank you very much being participants of the webinar. Thank you.